Okay, picture this. A world where everyone lives underground, completely alone, nobody walks, nobody sees the sun. You live your entire life in this one hexagonal room, and everything you could possibly want, food, clothes, music, even a bath, comes from pressing a button. The only way you talk to people is through a glowing screen. Sounds like I don't know, a pretty dark vision of our digital future,
It
right?
sounds disturbingly familiar. I mean, it's the logical extreme of the food delivery, work from home, curated content lifestyle we're all sort of swimming in.
Mhm.
It feels very, very current.
That's what's so wild about it. This isn't some new sci-fi script. We're
Right.
talking about a short story called The Machine Stops, written by E.M. Forster, and the kicker. It was published in 1909.
That date, it's genuinely hard to process. 1909, that's before television, before the internet, before commercial air travel was really a thing. And somehow Forster didn't just guess the hardware, the screens and the airships. He predicted the software, the way all this tech would actually change how we think.
It's uncanny. So, for this deep dive, that's our mission. We are going to step inside Forster's machine. We're going to explore this world where people have basically become passive cells in a giant mechanical hive, worshiping a system they've totally forgotten how to repair.
And we'll look at what happens when you trade direct experience for what he calls secondhand ideas.
Hmm.
And of course, we have to talk about the terrifying collapse that happens when the system finally stops.
So let's start with the people, or maybe the product of the people. Our main character is a woman named Vashti. She's a mother, but the way Forster describes her is just grotesque. He calls her a swaddled lump of flesh. Her face is as white as a fungus.
That word fungus is so perfect. It's something that grows in the dark, something without strength. Vashti is the model citizen. She's short, she never exercises, and she's absolutely terrified of direct experience. She just sits in her chair and the whole world comes to her with a button.
A button for a bath, a button for music.
A button for a bed to appear from the floor.
It's the ultimate convenience. But what really got me was her social life. I mean, she's not technically lonely. She says she knows thousands of people.
But she never, ever meets them in person.
No, meeting is, what does he call it, clumsy, a faux pas. All her interactions happen through this blue optical plate, which is, for all intents and purposes, a video call.
And notice what she does on these calls. She's always giving or attending lectures. This society is completely obsessed with ideas, but they have this really specific, almost twisted definition of what an idea should be.
This was maybe the most brilliant part of the story for me. She's listening to this lecture on the French Revolution, and the lecturer's advice to his students is just, it's insane. He tells them, beware of first-hand impressions.
It's the complete opposite of how we're taught to think. He says, don't look at what actually happened. Don't engage with the primary sources. Instead, you should learn what other people thought about what other people thought about it.
He calls direct observation the imponderable bloom. He says it's too messy, too real. The goal is a 10th-hand idea because by then it's been scrubbed clean of all that, grubby reality.
It's a bit like preferring a tweet storm over reading the actual book, but they've turned it into a moral philosophy. Direct experience is vulgar. The sanitized, pre-digested version is pure because it fits the machine's logic. Reality is chaotic. The machine is orderly.
And Vashti is all in. She has this book of the machine, which is just an instruction manual, but she treats it like a holy text. When she gets anxious, she kisses it, she bows to it, she literally prays, "Oh, machine."
Which is such a key transition. The machine starts as a tool, but over generations, it becomes a god. Nobody remembers that people built it. They just assume it's all powerful. So you've got this population of fungus people sitting in the dark, worshiping their utility provider.
And then the phone rings, so to speak. It's her son, Kuno. He lives on the other side of the planet, and he is everything she is not.
He's a throwback. Kuno has physical strength, which is seen as a defect in this world. In fact, they sometimes destroy babies who are too athletic because the machine doesn't need strong bodies. Kuno slipped through the cracks, and he is a total rebel. And he calls his mother and demands that she come and visit him.
In person, he refuses to talk through the plate. He says this amazing line, something like, "I see something like you in this plate, but I do not see you."
Yeah.
He knows the digital copy isn't the real thing.
He wants actual presence. Vashti, of course, is horrified. Travel is a nightmare. It means leaving her room. But Kuno forces her hand. He tells her he's been threatened with homelessness.
And we should be really clear about what that means. It's not just getting kicked out of his apartment. In their world, the surface of the earth is considered toxic. The air is unbreathable, so homelessness is a death sentence. It's being ejected onto the surface to die.
Exactly. So Vashti, terrified for her son, agrees. She gets on an airship, and this whole journey just shows how disconnected she is. She's flying over the Himalayas, over Greece.
And she hates it. She pulls the metal blinds down, someone points out the stars, and she just says, no ideas here. To her, the real physical world is just dust and mud. It's worthless.
The indoctrination runs that deep. She's physically repulsed by nature. When she finally gets to Kuno's room, which is identical to hers, of course, she's already planning her trip home. But then he tells her why he's in trouble. He went to the surface without permission.
And this is where the story just completely shifts gears. Kuno explains how he started this rebellion. It wasn't just a sudden impulse. He had to retrain his body. He started by just walking around his room, and he came to this profound conclusion. Man is the measure.
That's the core of his philosophy, isn't it? The machine has completely distorted their sense of space. Peking feels as close as the next room because you can just call it instantly. But Kuno realizes that near should mean a place you can physically walk to. He's reclaiming his body as the ruler to measure his world.
So he finds an old ventilation shaft, a relic from an earlier time. And his description of crawling through it it's just terrifying. But the thing that gets him, even more than the dark, is the silence.
Oh, that's such a great detail. The whole world, for them, has this constant low-level hum, the sound of the machine. They don't even notice it, but in the shaft, it's gone. And Kuno says the silence was physically painful. It scared him more than anything else.
But he keeps going. He cuts himself up, tears his clothes, all this messy, direct experience, and he emerges on the surface. In Wessex, in England, he takes a breath and realizes the greatest lie of all. The air is fine.
He's sitting in the grass, surrounded by ferns, and he sees the stars. But he doesn't see them as data. He feels this spiritual connection to the people who came before, the people who lived under those stars. He understands that the machine is just a prison, and the real world is still out there.
But the prison fights back, and this next part is pure horror. He calls it the mending apparatus.
Right. These automated repair drones. He describes them as these long, white, worm-like things that come down from the ceiling to fix things.
And one of them finds him. It's not just a tool, it's an enforcer. It grabs him. But then he realizes he's not alone out there. There are other people hiding in the ferns. The homeless, they survived.
They are the real human race now. They've returned to a more primitive life, but they're free. And a girl comes out of the ferns to help him. She grabs his hand, actual human contact, to try and pull him free from this worm thing. But the apparatus is too strong. It kills her right in front of him and drags Kuno back down into the earth.
It's just brutal. A reminder that the machine will destroy anything that threatens its perfect order. So he gets dragged back. He tells Vashti this incredible, world-shattering story.
She thinks he's gone mad.
Completely dismisses it. It's easier for her. If he's right, her entire life, her entire world is a lie. So she goes home, back to her buttons and lectures, and she just tries to forget.
And then Forster jumps forward in time. Years pass. And we start to see the system begin to fray. It's not a sudden collapse. It's a slow, creeping degradation.
Yeah, this is the era of decay. First, they abolish respirators entirely. The surface is now completely forbidden. The airships are grounded. The isolation is now absolute.
And at the same time, the worship of the machine becomes an official religion. You have priests and rituals, but while they're all chanting about how perfect the machine is, it's quietly falling apart, and people just make excuses for it.
The glitches start small. The music she likes has these weird gasping sounds in it now.
The artificial fruit they deliver is sometimes moldy. The bathwater starts to smell funny.
And you'd think that would cause a riot, but no, they just adapt.
They complain, of course.
Yep.
They send a message to the Committee of the Mending Apparatus. The committee sends back a generic, "We're looking into it," and people just accept it. They assume the machine has a good reason for the moldy fruit. It's learned helplessness on a planetary scale.
Even the lights start to dim. They're literally sitting in growing darkness, eating bad food, listening to broken music, and telling themselves it's all part of the plan.
That denial is the scariest part. They cannot imagine a world where the machine fails. To them, it's like a law of physics.
Yeah.
You don't try to fix gravity if it weakens, you just learn to float.
Until it breaks completely. And the way Forster writes the final collapse is masterful. It's not a bang, it's a whimper. It's the silence.
That hum, we talked about it earlier, that ever-present background noise. One day, it just stops. And the shock of that sudden, total silence is so great that it kills thousands of people instantly.
Yeah.
Their hearts just give out.
It's like the bends. They're so used to the pressure of the machine's presence that its absence just breaks them.
And for those who survive that initial moment, it is pure chaos. Vashti finally opens her door and looks into the tunnels. It's pandemonium. The lights are failing. The communication system is dead. And those mending apparatus worms are just hanging limp and broken from the ceilings.
Their god is dead. And they're like children. They don't know how to do anything. They're dying in the dark.
And in that final, horrible moment, Vashti has this one clear thought.
Mm-hmm.
She needs to find Kuno. She crawls through the dark over the bodies of her neighbors, and she finds him.
And they touch.
The last taboo.
Yeah.
Broken, they hold each other, and in the darkness, as their world literally crumbles around them, Vashti finally gets it. She understands what a waste it all was, all the lectures, all the ideas. It was for nothing.
But Kuno, and this is why he's the hero of the story, he's not despairing. Even as the city is collapsing, he feels hope.
He says to her, humanity has learned its lesson. He knows the machine will never be rebuilt. And he tells her to look up toward the surface.
The homeless.
The people in the ferns. The ones who remembered how to breathe real air. Kuno realizes they are the future. The hive was just a terrible mistake, an evolutionary dead end. The real human story will continue on the dust and mud that his mother hated so much.
So as they die, as the whole city comes crashing down, they're weeping, but not for themselves. They're weeping for the generations that wasted their lives in a box. In a way, they become fully human again, only in their final moments.
It's a tragic ending for them personally, but it's not a hopeless ending for humanity. It's a clean slate.
Okay. Wow. That story's... it's heavy. And for something over a century old, it feels almost too relevant. So let's try to synthesize this. What is the real warning here?
I think it's about agency. It's a warning about what happens when you outsource your life. They delegated everything, food, shelter, communication, even thought to this system, and they became completely passive.
We trade competence for convenience. That's the bargain, isn't it? I don't need to learn to navigate. I have a GPS. I don't need to learn to cook. I have an app. And Forster's asking, well, what happens when the network goes down?
Exactly. And it's deeper than just survival skills. It's about those 10-panned ideas. When you start preferring the digital copy of life to the real thing, you lose the essence. Vashti preferred the image of her son to his actual presence. That is the core tragedy.
So that phrase, man is the measure, that's the antidote. It's a call to remember that we're biological creatures. We're made for the real world, not the digital one. We're supposed to feel distance in our legs, not see it as a number on a screen.
The problem is that the machine is so seductive. It's easy, it's comfortable, the hexagonal room is safe, the dust and mud is messy and difficult. But Forster's point is that the mess is where life is. If you sanitize everything, you end up sterilizing humanity itself.
So a final provocative thought to leave you with. We all have our own buttons, our own blue plates. We aren't in those hexagonal cells yet, but we're building the walls.
So maybe ask yourself, what muscles, what senses are you letting atrophy for the sake of a convenient button? If your own personal machine stopped tomorrow, if the power went out for good, would you be one of the people lost in the dark?
Or would you know how to find your way to the surface and take a breath of fresh air? Something to think about.
Don't lose the near for the sake of the far.
Exactly. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. Go touch some grass. We'll see you next time.